Cinderella. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a kind and beautiful girl named Cinderella. She lived with her cruel stepmother and two stepsisters, who were jealous of her beauty and kindness. Cinderella's stepmother forced her to do all the housework, cook the meals, and clean the grand house where they lived. Meanwhile, her stepsisters wore fine dresses and spent their days idly, mocking Cinderella whenever they had the chance. Despite the harsh treatment, Cinderella remained kind-hearted and hopeful. She would often find solace in the small animals around the house, especially the birds and mice, who became her only friends. At night, when she had finished all her chores, she would sit by the fireplace, dreaming of a life where she was free and happy. She would whisper to the tiny creatures around her, telling them stories of grand castles, elegant gowns, and a future where she was loved and respected. One day, an announcement was made throughout the kingdom. The king was hosting a grand ball at the palace, and all the young ladies in the land were invited. The prince was searching for a bride, and this was his chance to find true love. Cinderella's stepsisters were thrilled and spent days preparing for the ball, ordering new gowns and jewelry. They bragged about how they would catch the prince's eye, laughing at Cinderella, who had no dress to wear and no hope of attending. Cinderella, too, dreamed of going, but her stepmother laughed at her. "You go to the ball? Impossible! You have nothing to wear, and you are needed here to clean up after us." Her stepmother's words stung, but she did not argue. Instead, she helped her stepsisters get ready, tying the laces of their dresses and styling their hair as they taunted her cruelly. Heartbroken, Cinderella watched as her stepmother and stepsisters left for the ball. She ran to the garden and wept. Just then, a soft glow appeared before her, and a warm voice said, "Why are you crying, my dear?" It was her fairy godmother. "I want to go to the ball, but I have nothing to wear," Cinderella sobbed. The fairy godmother smiled and waved her wand. Instantly, Cinderella's tattered dress transformed into a magnificent gown of shimmering blue and silver. The fabric sparkled under the moonlight, flowing gracefully as she moved. On her feet appeared a pair of glass slippers, delicate and beautiful, as if crafted from pure light. "Now, my dear, you shall go to the ball," said the fairy godmother. With another wave of her wand, a pumpkin turned into a golden carriage, mice became fine horses, and a rat transformed into a noble coachman. But remember, the fairy godmother warned, this magic will only last until midnight. You must leave the ball before the clock strikes 12. Cinderella promised she would, and with a joyful heart, she climbed into the carriage and rode to the palace, her heart pounding with excitement. At the ball, The grand palace shone with golden lights, and the hall was filled with music and laughter. Everyone turned to look at the stunning young woman who had arrived. Even her own stepsisters did not recognize her. The prince, captivated by her beauty and grace, immediately asked her to dance. They danced together the entire evening, lost in each other's company, and Cinderella felt as though she were in a dream. For the first time, she felt truly special, as if she belonged in this world of elegance and splendor. But as the clock neared midnight, she remembered her fairy godmother's warning. She quickly pulled away from the prince and ran out of the palace. In her haste, she lost one of her glass slippers on the grand staircase. The prince picked it up, staring after her with longing. "Wait," he called, but Cinderella had already disappeared into the night. The next day, determined to find the mysterious girl, the prince declared that whoever could fit the slipper would be his bride. He sent his messengers across the kingdom to try the slipper on every maiden. The excitement spread throughout the land, and young women lined up, hoping to be the one chosen by the prince. When they arrived at Cinderella's house, her stepsisters eagerly tried on the slipper, but their feet were too big. No matter how hard they pushed, the slipper would not fit. They even tried to squeeze their feet into it, but it was no use. Just as the messengers were about to leave, Cinderella stepped forward. "May I try?" she asked. Her stepmother scoffed. "You? Nonsense." She tried to block Cinderella from reaching the messenger, but he insisted that every maiden had the right to try. Cinderella gently placed her foot into the slipper, and it fit perfectly. A gasp of astonishment filled the room. Just then, the fairy godmother appeared, waving her wand, and Cinderella's rags transformed back into the dazzling gown from the ball. Her stepmother and stepsisters stared in shock, unable to believe their eyes. The prince was overjoyed when he heard the news and rushed to Cinderella's house. When he saw her, he knew immediately that she was the girl he had danced with. "Will you be my bride?" he asked, kneeling before her. Cinderella smiled, tears of joy filling her eyes, and nodded. The entire kingdom celebrated as Cinderella was whisked away to the palace, where she and the prince were married in a grand celebration. And as for her stepmother and stepsisters, they were left to reflect on their cruelty, realizing too late that kindness and love were far more valuable than vanity and pride. Cinderella, now a princess, made sure that no one in the kingdom was treated unfairly, and she used her kindness to bring joy to others. And so, Cinderella and the prince lived happily ever after, in a kingdom where kindness, love, and dreams truly came to life. The end.